keep it natural. Stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, godsend, godsend. You missing the sandals, but still you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, it's a different touch. Put your on my plate, I don't skip the lunch, I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between us, all you two turned up. Never turn down though, when it's big energy, when I come around though. So, don't ever switch. Know you've been looking, won't find it like this. Know you've been looking for the head of them curves. I'm Jimmy Johnson with this.
I have been an electric unicycle rider for close to half of my life. This is my first electric scooter. This is the KingSong N12. It was sent to me by KingSong, which doesn't mean anything. I'm gonna make this review as honest as I can, because of course I didn't buy it, so there is some bias here. But at the same time, I don't want to be a rat tuber. I don't want to just say good stuff about products so companies like me, because I don't trust these YouTubers and I want to make the audience trust me. So there are things I don't like about this scooter. And you will find out what I don't like about this scooter in this review. There is a lot of stuff like the brakes that gave me a few moments where I thought that I was gonna hit a car on a pedestrian walk. So stay tuned for that. I'm just gonna tell you about all that good stuff. My first impression of this scooter weren't even like mine. I just called the delivery man and he was like, man, why did you have to order this huge thing that I will have to lift and, you know, carry around? Because I didn't know in the videos, in the promotional videos, it's very small. Like when there is a person in context, it feels very small, but it's not. It's so big. Like it weighs 30 kilograms. So I had to like lift it with the delivery man. Then Peter helped me to bring it into the studio. And the box is like labeled with electric scooters. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I like the design of the box, but at the same time, I like the thing that electric unicycle companies do, where they just hide the fact that there is an electric unicycle inside the box, so like people don't steal them. So then when it came, we lifted it with the delivery driver, then Peter helped me get it into the studio, we opened it, and the scooter is huge, like it's so much bigger than you think it would be. And you know, I was expecting a smaller thing, but I'm glad that it is bigger. Like the handlebars are wider, which is way safer. The deck is way wider, so it's way more comfortable, I feel, in a scooter that you're gonna be using to like go from a place to place, not for fun tricks, to be big. And it is big, but it's also a shame because, you know, it's a street scooter. Like it's meant to be used as a thing that will get you from a place A to place B, or whatever, like 30 kilometers it's gonna be between the places. But there are gonna be times where you have to like put it into a car or put it into a public transport, and you know, it can fall that way, but also like the handlebars don't fall, so it has this massive footprint. It's very long, it's very wide, and so it's not as portable as I thought it's gonna be. But again, that comes with the comfort of having a wide deck, wide handlebars with no failure points that they're gonna, you know, snap off. So yeah, I have mixed feelings with that aspect. So my first impressions were really similar to other people's first impressions when they saw the scooter, and everyone told me the same thing. It's really well designed, and I agree. Like a lot of scooters and unicycles, they just pivoted into looking like cheap toys, like everything is plastic. I mean, KingSong is very guilty of that. And, you know, I don't like it personally. I like my Commander Mini, which is full metal and it looks like a vehicle, not a toy. And I know it's like subjective, but I personally love the Leaper scheme way more than the KingSong, the InMotion one. So I really love that this is really toned down, like coherent. One thing that I forgot to talk about is the screen. Personally, I just love it. It's so good. Like, it's very big, it's very readable, the icons are very intuitive. It just gives you all the info that you would need. And yeah, it's just very useful. It scratches super easily, and I've seen scratches on level 2 with deeper grooves on level 3, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, back to the review. Then there is, the excitement that comes with them hearing about the eABS and the blinkers. And everyone is like, "Whoa, that's crazy, you have eABS on your scooter and the blinkers." Both of these things don't work properly. Like the eABS, the only thing I saw it do is like when I slowed down and then sped up, it just like had a cooldown of not giving me power, just I assume not to sleep. And also when you turn on the blinkers, you just end up covering them with your hand and no one sees them. And even if you're not covering it with your hand, I was going behind my friends and they were turning and I didn't even notice because the upper one is easily covered by them and is barely visible, and the lower one is just red, so it looks like they are braking. So these safety features can quickly become a hazard because they just give you an illusion of safety. In terms of the lights, there is a 5-watt headlight, there is a floodlight, there is RGB strips, which are really fun. There is also a brake light and blinkers that I talked about how they don't work. So the headlight, I really like it. It's bright, it has a sharp cutoff angle. Maybe it like wobbles with the handlebars a lot because it's up top instead of being, close to the ground. So there is a lot of jumping when you're going off-road at night or stuff like that. The floodlights are behind dimmed glass, which is very like backward thinking. They are not very bright and I don't like them. I just used my Grizzla lights that I got with my pads. They worked really well at this purpose. The RGB strips, I don't really understand because they gave us like this full spectrum, full RGB strips, and then the app only lets you have like 2 modes, which is blue or everything all at once. I just did everything because I liked it. So the rear light, I actually like that. The rear light is really well made. I don't really have anything to complain about. The blinkers are invisible because you cover them with your hand and the lower ones are just red, so you think, wow, he's braking. No, he's actually turning. So and also there is a lot of retroreflective bits around. Oh, that snapped off. That are not really well mounted. The tape just snapped off, and that's not very good. You can see that they were put on this scooter like as an afterthought. At least these ones, because the top one is screwed in, the back one is mounted on the mudguard, but these ones were just like glued on and they are gonna fall. So I think I'm just gonna snap them off and then just glue them in later with the GoPro glue or something like that. The code numbers, like the speed and range, the max speed is about 50 kilometers per hour. Like if you want to sustain it, that's from my experience. I have like a 15-kilometer way to school and I'm always flooring it. Like this is another problem of this scooter. I'm gonna talk about this later, but I'm always flooring it like full throttle and it always hovers around 50, and when I'm going like in a straight line for a long time, it's gonna just like creep on like 51, 52, 53 and maybe get to 55 if it's like maybe a downhill or something like that. But usually it just hovers at 50 and it just doesn't cross it, and I like it. I like 50 kilometers per hour. It's like a perfect speed for me, so I don't complain about that. In terms of the range, when I was flooring it 15 kilometers, I got about 18 kilometers of range at 50 kilometers per hour. I think it's really good for a battery the size of a V10, and I'm not complaining because the charger is really small. So I just charged up at school, and if you know when the scooter is gonna lose its power, you know where to charge and when to switch to other modes. When you like go 15 kilometers at the top speed, you can still go 50 kilometers back if you're just using the eco mode or the even lower speeds. I would say that the range is largely dependent on how fast you're going, and if that's like lower ones like eco mode and lower, I think you could actually get to the 80 kilometers they advertised in perfect conditions. But like in the real world, I would say like 70 kilometers if you're really conserving the energy, and then about 18-17 kilometers if you're just flooring it all the way from start to finish. I haven't measured the off-road range yet, so I think that's pretty good for this battery. I think that's pretty good. There is also an IP rating of 55. 5 means that it's dust proof, and 4 means that it's splash proof, but not like with really strong streams. It's with like splashes. So I think you're safe riding in the rain. That's the huge advantage of a scooter, is that even if it's going to short circuit and brake and stuff like that, you're not gonna fall on your face like you would on an electric unicycle. So I don't really care about it. If it's splash proof, then it's probably going to handle the rain. There are 4 ride modes. There is pedestrian, which keeps you at the lower speed of like 3 to 6 kilometers per hour. There is eco, which by default is 20. There is drive, which is 30, and then there is sport mode, which is what I've been riding in pretty much at all times. I set it so there is no speed limit, so the scooter is just doing its best to keep the speed. It's usually, 50. You control the speed with a throttle thingy on the right hand. I don't like it because it really encourages a behavior of just flooring it all the way, even if the situation calls for a lower speed. And what I mean by that is that it's not very accurate. So you're either flooring it or just slowing down rapidly, and it's very hard to hold it in the middle. You can grip it with your whole hand and twist it with your whole hand, which gives you a bit more precision, but at the same time it gets uncomfortable after some time. Even if you're doing it just with your thumb starts to hurt. So I really don't like this way of changing the speeds. I think the whole handlebar should rotate like in a motorcycle for more accurate control. This scooter definitely has a kick. Like, it's not the most powerful, it only has one motor, but depending on how you set it in the app, because you have control of how fast it accelerates, what's the kickoff speed, so like what's the speed a person has to be riding in order for the motors to start spinning. And also we can control how fast the e-brakes are, which I'm gonna talk about later because I kind of hate them. The new people that I gave this scooter to, they always like felt this, like they were thrown back by how fast it accelerated because I have it set up that way. So it definitely gives you a lot of fun. I think that this is where the electric scooters differ from electric unicycles. The unicycles are like an extension of your body, you're not thinking about them, and then electric scooters really give you that feedback that when you're going with the throttle, it's not connected to your brain, so it surprises you with how fast it is. And I think it's really fun. Like, many people see it as a disadvantage. It's so fun to have a thing, overpower you. So it definitely doesn't lack power in like everyday use. But when I was off-roading, the motor was overheated. There is only a single motor on the back wheel, which is I think 1000 watts. That's not a lot of power, to ride off-road. So during summer, it overheated a lot. So after 10 minutes of really intense riding in the forest, the icon just popped up on the screen that the scooter is overheated, and then I had to like wait 30 seconds or so for it to just cool down, and then I could come back to the full speed. It just slowed down to like 15 kilometers per hour or so, because I was flooring it in the forest too. Speaking of off-road, I think it's perfectly capable to conquer most trails. When there is sand, the tires slip really easily because, they are street tires. And the suspension, I think, is like it's kind of weird where the back of the suspension is set up for off-road and the front is set up for street environments, I think I like it. Like, it works somehow. The suspension makes it so the scooter is lifted from the ground, so it's really hard to clip on some like tree roots or something. It's way easier to clip when you're like going up a curb, because the back, you know, is angled, so it can just scratch the back. I did that sometimes. Once at full speed, like 30 kilometers per hour, I just had to check if everything is okay with the scooter, because I was like, I think I broke it. But then I just flipped it on the side and I saw that nothing happened, like there was a small scratch there. So that's definitely a plus for the durability. Because of this weird off-road and street suspension hybrid, it actually feels really nice in street environments, because on bad roads it really tones down the bumps, the rapid bumps with the spring suspension, and then the larger hits are, you know, really well handled with the fork suspension on the front. You can actually adjust both of these. On the spring suspension you can adjust preload, and then on the fork suspension I think just the hardness. Now, the selling point that I was most disappointed by were the e-brakes, and you know, they work like most of the time, 97% of the time, but then you know, because e-brakes are basically just power generators, and so when the scooter is charged to max like 100% and you just go for a ride and just accelerate to like 50 kilometers per hour and then try to brake, it will brake for like half a second, and then the scooter will realize, oh my god, we are getting so much power from the generator that we have to cut it off, because otherwise it's just gonna burn the main board. And so it does, so you're just left with you were braking and suddenly you're not, because you know there are like two steps of braking. When you brake a little bit, the e-brakes work, and then when you like clench it really hard, then the normal brakes work, which is really good that it has a backup. Like the e-brakes are just an addition on the normal brakes. But I've had several really dangerous situations where like I was going 50, being unresponsible, and then a car was just going from the left, and I was like, holy shit, I have to brake or otherwise I'm just going to ram into this car. And so I grabbed the brake, and I expected to brake, but then it started braking and just stopped and just went straight ahead. So I had to like grab it with my both hands and just like ditch from the scooter, and you know, it was pretty scary. I think it's even worse than if it wouldn't work like at the first kilometers of the ride, because you would not expect it to work. And because it did work, I was really taken aback by it. So this is an example where a safety feature becomes a safety hazard, and I hate it. Like this shouldn't happen. I contacted KingSong, they were like, yep, it's not to charge the main board. And I was like, okay, so it's a feature then. I don't like it. I don't like it. I actually really like the tires. I'm turning into a street tire guy. I know I'm a heretic. And you know, it has a really nice profile, as I found out because I didn't know that. When you're turning on an electric scooter, you're really turning with the angle of your whole body, like with the angle of the handlebars, not by how they are turned, similarly to a motorcycle. For some reason my head had the stupid assumption that you're actually turning with this, but it's not true. It's not true. So it's really handy that you can lean on the scooter and there is no brake in the profile, so it's really smooth all the way when getting into it, getting out of turns. It's also reasonably grippy. Like, of course, during the rain you're gonna slide, and it's really fun. It's really fun. Kind of ruined by the EABS, with just when you stop and slide, and then like take off your hands from the brakes and just accelerate. It takes a few seconds so the scooter knows that you're not sliding to accelerate, which I guess is a safety feature, but I guess KingSong just hates fun, don't they? In terms of the comfort of the ride, The deck is really wide and you have a lot of space to, you know, shift around, to change positions when you get tired. I don't like the footrest on the back, which is like really narrow and small. So it's good for like sudden moves and stuff like that, but also not comfortable at all for longer rides. Your feet just hurt when you use it. The handlebars are really wide, and you know that makes it so the moves that you do with your hands can be way more precise, and it's way safer that way. It's also more comfortable. This is more comfortable than this. The button placement is also a thing that I I kind of don't like. I think that the bell, for example, should be on the left thumb, because I have my pointy finger on brakes at all times and I have to take it off to ring the bell and then put it on back. And if it was on the thumb, it would be just solved. Also, during longer rides, your thumb just like, it hurts from the throttle. It gets really stiff because you just hold it in one place and you just, you know, squeeze it. So I don't really like that. There is no handlebar height adjustment, so I guess KingSong just assumes that you're either worthy or not worthy to ride it. I love the folding mechanism. You have to be really intentional with the clip to release it, and it just folds. It's very smooth, and then when you fold it up, it's very satisfying. It's built really nice. It has a fail-safe, so you don't, you know, snap it off mid-ride. And even if it does snap off mid-ride, it can be in like midway position, and look, like you will find out that the clip is unlocked and you're not gonna fall because of this. It has to be like put all the way down and then it falls. So that's like, I just love this thing. I guess it is safer technically to just have a fold that's welded to the deck, but also like not many people would do that trade-off of, you know, not having a folding mechanism. So I love this thing. Even when you fold it, it's so big. It's so freaking big. Like, look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna fold this scooter. Yeah. You're not seeing this on camera, but this is really big. This is really big. Like, it's also heavy. So, like, it's not as easy to put into a car or something as I thought it's gonna be. It's again, it's big. It's, you know, heavy. I would just use it as the primary way of transportation. And if you have like a pickup truck, I mean, you're gonna be able to fit it there, but in like a normal car, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to like put it on the back seats because like the trunk is not wide enough. So I don't like it. And the handlebars don't fold too, so I guess, you know, it's safer, but also it's very wide still when it's folded. So like at school when I'm charging it, there are like stairs that I put it on. I don't have the comfort of just putting it wherever as I do with my unicycle. Like, this takes up some proper space, and you know, when you have to charge it at work, you just have to have a spot for it. So that's not really convenient. Speaking of charging, this is the charger. It's really small, it's really light. It has 2.5 amps. No, output is 2 amps. So that's not great. This is not good. Like, this charges this scooter in like 7 to 8 hours. That's such a long time. So I don't like how fast the charger works. But if you're gonna go to work, you don't care about charge time. You know, in 6 hours it's gonna probably like charge from 30% to full, and that's probably the ranges that you're gonna discharge it to when going to work. So you know, that's the trade-off. You get a small charger, portable one that you can just throw into a backpack, but it's not very fast. Personally, I don't really like the app. You can lock the scooter with it and like do it so you have to write in a code to unlock it, which is really cool. I like this feature for people like me that, you know, can't get the scooter to work, because you know at work they have some sanepid rules that you can't bring an electric vehicle inside the kitchen, so I have to leave it outside, and it's really handy to have you know, a lock. But also the app is the user experience is kind of bad. You have these RGB strips, you have all these features on this scooter that you just can't use because of the app. And you know, you have the RGB strips that are really colorful, like full spectrum, full RGB, but there is only colorful mode or blue mode. There is nothing in between, or I guess you can just turn them off. But like, what's the point of buying this scooter? The lights are the best part. Also, KingSong advertises this scooter with a smart BEMS, but I don't know if they are telling me the truth, because I just can't access it through the app, I think. I will check later and see if I have to cut it out of this review. But I don't think there is a way to do it. So I think like this scooter really suffers from the app not making the full use of the features of this scooter. The price of €1,000 is a steep one. And as if with any product, I really advise you to just make your own research and make an educated decision on what you are paying for. This scooter, I think, is for a person that values design and features over the performance of a thing. And you know, I used to be a performance guy, and now I'm actually turning into a features and design guy, because I had an MSP. The MSP broke because I just bought it because I wanted the frills. It gave me the frills and then it broke because it wasn't designed really well. And I think that this scooter is, in terms of design, is pretty good, like excluding the e-brakes and the freaking blinker that you can see. But everything else, I like how it looks, I like how it rides, and I just like to use it.
You keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between this, you too turned up. Never turn down though, when there's big energy, when I come around though. So, don't ever switch. Know you've been looking, won't find it like this. Know you've been looking for the head of them curves. I'm Jimmy Johnson with this. I'm Jimmy Johnson with this. That I attest, I'm like grinding it. Just cycle, I swim and I run. Whatever you need, I'm trying out the line with it. Turn on the lights, take a flick. Just don't be running this shit. Hey, I can see you as my chick. Nah, I can see you as my. You keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between this, you too turned up. Looking like God, that's masterpiece. Make a say unlike masterpiece. You shouldn't even self after me. Don't nobody really want you bad as me. If you walk away, that'd be sad to see. But if you plan to stay, baby, have a seat. On my every day, any day, every time, all the time, in my mind. Summertime, dinner time. I just wanna see you cross the finish line, Feeling like Jimmy, I give you this Johnson. Know you like filming that content. All in your bank and I never pull out. I just like making deposits. Yeah, you keep it natural, stay in your bag like you wearing satchels. Hey, baby, you a godsend, just missing the sandals. But still, you ain't missing much. Put your hands on my back, that's a different touch. Put your on my plate, I don't skip the lunch. I don't skip the brunch, not the dinner neither. And we hella close, not a centimeter. Getting in between this, you too turned up. Never turn down though, when there's big energy, when I come around though. So, don't ever switch. Know you've been looking, won't find it like this. Know you've been looking for the head of them curves. I'm Jimmy Johnson with this.
O, piękne ujęcie na kałuży, dziękuję. I tu w lewo. Nie udało się?
Nie udało się, ale się przetoczyłem. Coś mi się stało z tyłu?